We spend nearly 1/3 of our lives asleep. That's over 25 years in a state we barely remember and rarely question. But what if those missing hours aren't just rest, but rehearsal? What if your brain is more active while you sleep than when you're awake? Every night, while you drift into unconsciousness, something astonishing begins. A cascade of repairs, recalibrations, emotional rebalancing, memory sorting, and cellular cleaning, all happening behind closed eyelids. You're not just resting, you're rebuilding. And the things you take for granted during the day, your focus, your moods, your decisions, may all depend on what happens when you're completely unaware. So what exactly is your body doing while you're out cold? Let's begin with the biology. What if the most productive hours of your life happen when you're not even awake to witness them? As you drift off, your body enters one of the most complex and coordinated performances in nature. Your muscles go slack, your temperature drops, your senses fade. But under the surface, your brain lights up, regulating hormones, repairing tissue, balancing your immune system, and clearing away toxic waste. It filters memories. It processes emotion. It reboots you for tomorrow, all without a single conscious thought. This isn't science fiction. It's biology's hidden symphony, composed and conducted every night inside you. You think you're powering down, but in truth, your body is just getting started. As you drift off to sleep, your conscious awareness dims, but deep in your brain, something stirs. A tiny command center, the size of a grain of rice, has been waiting all day for darkness to fall. And the moment it does, the show begins. This command center, the hypothalamus, initiates a sequence of events that rivals a space launch in complexity. Without your conscious awareness, a biological timer called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, or SCN, has been tracking every moment of daylight exposure through your eyes, preparing for this moment. As darkness falls, this master conductor sends signals to your pineal gland, nestled between your brain's hemispheres. In response, this small endocrine gland begins releasing melatonin, the storyteller hormone that whispers to every cell in your body, night has come, it's time to sleep. But this is just the beginning of the night shift. In the anterior hypothalamus, a cluster of neurons called the ventrolateral preoptic nucleus, the VLPO, springs to life. These cells are the peacekeepers of sleep, releasing the neurotransmitter GABA like a gentle blanket that gradually muffles the brain's arousal systems. Why can we fall asleep so quickly some nights, yet lie awake for hours on others? The answer lies in this delicate chemical dance. When GABA successfully quiets wake-promoting regions in your hypothalamus and brainstem, sleep arrives. When this balance is disrupted, perhaps by stress, light, or that late afternoon coffee, insomnia follows. As sleep deepens, different regions of your brain take on specialized roles, like a carefully choreographed changing of the guards. Your thalamus, normally the great relay station for sensory information, becomes a gatekeeper, blocking incoming signals from the outside world. This is why you can sleep through distant conversations or the hum of traffic, yet snap awake at the sound of your name or a baby's cry. But why does your brain need to tune out the world so completely? What work requires such profound isolation? Deep in your brainstem, the reticular formation, a network that normally keeps you alert, now filters sensory information, preventing unnecessary disruptions. The pons prepares to send signals that will eventually paralyze your body during REM sleep, while simultaneously coordinating your breathing rhythm throughout the night. How does your body maintain perfect breathing even as your conscious mind surrenders control? This miracle of autonomic function continues thanks to the medulla oblongata, which vigilantly monitors carbon dioxide levels and adjusts your respiratory rate without a single conscious thought. If brain regions are the musicians in sleep's orchestra, neurotransmitters are the notes they play, rising and falling in a complex harmony that guides you through each stage of sleep. As you drift into the first stage of sleep, the wakefulness-promoting neurotransmitters, histamine, norepinephrine, and orexin, begin their nightly retreat, like sentinels standing down from their posts. These chemicals that kept you alert during the day gradually withdraw. Meanwhile, adenosine, which has been accumulating in your brain all day like sand in an hourglass, has reached levels that create an overwhelming pressure to sleep. Every moment you've been awake, every thought you process, has generated this sleep-promoting molecule as a byproduct. This is why caffeine keeps you awake. It blocks adenosine receptors, essentially blinding your brain to this sleep signal. As GABA levels rise, inhibiting arousal centers throughout your brain, your muscles begin to relax, your breathing slows, your heart rate decreases, your core body temperature drops slightly, all orchestrated by a shift from sympathetic to parasympathetic dominance in your autonomic nervous system. Why does your body temperature need to fall for sleep to arrive? This cooling process isn't just a side effect. It's a crucial trigger, signaling that conditions are right for sleep to begin. As you cross the threshold into sleep, your brain begins a journey that will repeat in roughly 90-minute cycles throughout the night. Think of these stages not as static states, but as landscapes your brain traverses, each with its own terrain of electrical activity, chemical environment, and biological purpose. Stage 1. The edge of consciousness. In Stage 1, you stand at the edge of waking, muscles occasionally twitching as your body surrenders to sleep. On an EEG, your brain's electrical activity shifts from the busy alpha waves of wakefulness, 8 to 13 hertz, to slower theta waves, 4 to 7 hertz. Have you ever experienced that sudden sensation of falling as you drift off? These hypnic jerks occur at the boundary between wakefulness and sleep, a neurological echo from our evolutionary past, perhaps, as the brain's motor systems momentarily misfire during the handoff to sleep. Stage 2. Closing the sensory gates. As you descend into Stage 2, two remarkable EEG patterns emerge: sleep spindles and K-complexes. Sleep spindles appear as brief bursts of accelerated brain waves, 12 to 16 hertz, like sparks in a dark cave. These aren't random electrical noise. They're active processes that help suppress external disruptions and, remarkably, consolidate new learning into long-term memory. K-complexes, large, dramatic waves that punctuate the EEG, act like neural bouncers, actively suppressing arousal to maintain sleep, while paradoxically allowing your brain to monitor the environment for truly important signals. Why would evolution design a brain that remains partially vigilant even in sleep? The answer lies in our vulnerable past. Sleeping soundly yet maintaining just enough awareness to wake for genuine threats was a survival advantage our ancestors needed. Stage 3. The deep renewal. As theta waves give way to powerful delta waves, 0.5 to 4 hertz, high amplitude, low frequency giants that sweep across your brain, you enter the deepest phase of non-REM sleep. This slow wave sleep is the blackout room where some of the body's most critical maintenance occurs. The pituitary gland releases its largest pulse of growth hormone during this phase, triggering tissue repair throughout your body. Your muscles rebuild, your skin regenerates, your bones remodel. Meanwhile, your brain undergoes its own renovation. The glymphatic system, discovered only recently, activates like a midnight cleanup crew. In this remarkable process, brain cells actually shrink slightly, creating wider spaces between them so that cerebrospinal fluid can flow more freely, washing away metabolic waste products that accumulated during wakefulness. Why does your brain need to shut down awareness just to clean itself? Why can't this critical maintenance happen while you're awake and active? The brain's energy is finite. It simply cannot simultaneously power consciousness, process sensory input, coordinate movement, and clean itself. Something had to give. An evolution solution was sleep. Just when your body reaches its most inactive state, most of your voluntary muscles paralyzed by inhibitory signals from the brainstem, your brain erupts with activity. Welcome to REM sleep. Your eyes dart rapidly beneath closed lids. Your breathing becomes irregular. Your heart rate fluctuates. On an EEG, your brain shows patterns nearly identical to wakefulness: rapid, low voltage, mixed frequency activity that looks nothing like the slow waves of deep sleep. The neurotransmitter acetylcholine floods your brain, while paradoxically, norepinephrine and serotonin, which were active during wakefulness, fall silent. This unique chemical environment creates the perfect conditions for dreams, as your visual cortex, motor cortex, and emotional centers activate while the logical prefrontal cortex takes a backseat. Why does your brain paralyze your body during this active phase? Imagine the survival disadvantage of physically acting out your dreams. This elegant solution, REM atonia, protects you from harming yourself or others while your brain runs its nightly simulations. Throughout this journey, hormones act as both timekeepers and messengers, creating a biological rhythm that connects sleep to every system in your body. Melatonin, the darkness hormone, reaches its peak in the middle of the night, gradually declining as morning approaches. Growth hormone surges during early deep sleep, like a repair technician arriving for the night shift. Cortisol, often vilified as the stress hormone, follows a natural rhythm that begins to rise in late sleep, peaking around your waking time. This isn't stress. It's your body's way of preparing you for the energy demands of the day ahead. What happens when these hormonal rhythms desynchronize? The consequences extend far beyond feeling tired. Research shows that disrupted sleep rhythms affect everything from immune function to metabolism, potentially contributing to conditions ranging from diabetes to depression. As you cycle through sleep stages, your autonomic nervous system performs a delicate dance between its two branches. During non-REM sleep, parasympathetic tone increases, your heart slows, blood pressure drops, and digestion adjusts. This rest and digest state dominates most of your sleep. But during REM sleep, something curious happens. Sympathetic activity, the fight or flight system, periodically surges, creating brief storms in your cardiovascular system. Your heart may suddenly accelerate, blood pressure rises, then falls again. Why would your body create these brief, sympathetic storms during sleep? One theory suggests these fluctuations help maintain cardiovascular flexibility and responsiveness, like a system test, ensuring your body can still respond appropriately to stressors. While you sleep, your immune system undergoes its own transformation. Pro-inflammatory cytokines peak during early nocturnal sleep, supporting the fight against pathogens. T cells traffic to lymph nodes more efficiently. Slow-wave sleep supports immunological memory, which is why adequate sleep before and after vaccinations significantly improves your immune response. Have you ever noticed how a single night of poor sleep often precedes illness? This is no coincidence. Sleep deprivation impairs immune function on multiple levels, from reduced natural killer cell activity to impaired antibody response. Your brain and immune systems speak to each other in a bidirectional conversation that happens primarily during sleep. The quality of this conversation affects everything from wound healing to your resistance to viruses. What makes sleep different from simply resting with your eyes closed? The answer lies in this orchestrated biology, a precisely timed sequence that cannot be replaced by quiet wakefulness. Each brain region, each neurotransmitter, each hormone, each autonomic shift serves a purpose in this nightly reset, preparing your body and mind not just for the next day, but for your long-term health and survival. But sleep isn't just about repair and maintenance, because in the next stage, as your body becomes still and your brain waves transform yet again, the mind begins to wander into territories that consciousness cannot access. You're about to meet the most unpredictable part of sleep, the place where logic unravels and memories take on lives of their own, a realm where your brain makes connections impossible during wakefulness, where creativity flourishes in the absence of conscious constraints, and where the boundaries between reality and imagination dissolve. Welcome to the dream world, the final frontier of sleep science, and perhaps the most mysterious territory in the human experience. You close your eyes, hoping for 8 uninterrupted hours of rest. But what if your bed is lying to you? What if the problem isn't falling asleep, but what's happening after you do? Millions wake up every morning feeling like they never slept at all, exhausted, foggy, frustrated. The mystery isn't in your imagination. It's in your brain waves, your breathing, your heartbeat. Sleep might seem like the most peaceful part of your day, but sometimes it's where the real chaos begins. What if your dreams weren't the only things trying to tell you something? Before we had sleep labs and wearable trackers, poor sleep was a mystery with no map. For centuries, people blamed bad dreams on spicy food, full moons, or restless spirits. The real clues? Hidden inside the brain and only recently uncovered. Ancient physicians blamed bad dreams on indigestion. Victorian doctors prescribed laudanum, essentially liquid opium. In the 1950s, sleeping pills were handed out like candy, with little understanding of what was actually happening beneath closed eyelids. But in a sleep lab in Chicago in 1953, something changed forever. Scientists discovered REM sleep, the first evidence that sleep wasn't just off, but a complex, active state with distinct stages. The invisible became visible, and this changed everything. Today, sleep medicine speaks 3 special languages, not French, Mandarin, or Spanish, but the ICSD-3, DSM-5, and ICD-11. These aren't just alphabetical nightmares. They're the code books of the sleep detectives. They transform vague complaints like, "I sleep badly," into precise diagnoses: insomnia, obstructive sleep apnea, narcolepsy, restless leg syndrome, parasomnias. Each one tells a different midnight story. Meet Maya, 32, ambitious and always exhausted. Her body insists it's still night when her alarm blares at 6 a.m. She falls asleep at 2, wakes up groggy, and blames her phone or the stress. But the real culprit? A circadian rhythm running hours behind the world. The diagnosis: delayed sleep phase disorder. Her body clock isn't broken. It's just set to a different time zone. Now meet James. His wife says he snores like a freight train. He doesn't remember waking up, but his brain does. Dozens of times a night, his airway collapses, his oxygen drops, and his brain jolts him back to breathe. The result? High blood pressure, daytime sleepiness, failing focus. The diagnosis: obstructive sleep apnea. What sounds like snoring is actually suffocation. Or Eliza, Eliza, 74, keeps nodding off during the evening news. But come midnight, she's wide awake. Her doctor says that's just aging. But her sleep detective sees the real story. Her internal clock has shifted early. The diagnosis, advanced sleep phase disorder. It's not just age. It's biology and it can be treated. 1 in 3 adults struggles with insomnia. That's not a statistic. It's a story repeated in bedrooms across the world. Silent frustration, quiet suffering, endless nights without answers. Sleep apnea can triple your risk of heart attack, and many who have it don't know. Up to 14% of adults experience restless leg syndrome, often dismissing it as nervous energy or bad circulation. These aren't just statistics. They're people lying awake, partners sleeping in separate bedrooms, drivers nodding off at the wheel. But how do modern sleep detectives solve the mysteries of night without ever waking you up? Now imagine this. You lie down in a quiet sleep lab. Electrodes record your brain waves. Tubes track your breathing. Cameras monitor your every movement. Even when you don't know you're moving, it may look clinical, but it's where secrets are uncovered. This is polysomnography, the gold standard for unlocking what happens while you sleep, while you dream of flying or falling. The machines are telling your story in squiggly lines and numbers. They reveal how often you stop breathing, how your legs kick involuntarily, how your brain fails to cycle properly through sleep stages. But not all detective work happens in the lab. Meet actigraphy, the wristwatch that spies on your sleep for weeks. It tracks your movements 24/7, revealing patterns invisible to the naked eye. And now, even your ring might know how well you slept before you do. Consumer sleep tracking has democratized the data. Though sleep specialists caution these devices are more like police sketches and fingerprints, helpful but not definitive. Would surprise you to learn that many sleep disorders travel in pairs, like invisible tag teams. Insomnia and sleep apnea often appear together, masking each other's symptoms. You can't sleep because you can't breathe, but you think it's just stress. Depression and insomnia form a vicious cycle, each worsening the other. Restless leg syndrome and periodic limb movement disorder frequently share the same brain circuitry. One keeping you awake as you try to fall asleep, the other disrupting your partner's sleep while you remain unaware. The stakes are higher than most realize. When sleep disorders go undetected, the consequences ripple through every system in your body. Your blood vessels stiffen, your metabolism falters, your immune system weakens, your brain's waste disposal system, which works mainly during deep sleep, falls behind, potentially increasing your risk for neurodegenerative diseases decades later. Your risk for accidents skyrockets. Driving while severely sleep deprived can be as dangerous as driving drunk. But this story isn't just about what goes wrong. It's about the profound potential of recognition and treatment. Technology and telemedicine are expanding access to sleep care. Artificial intelligence is helping detect patterns in sleep data that might escape even trained eyes. Home testing is making diagnosis more convenient and affordable. And treatments have moved far beyond take this pill. From CPAP machines that keep airways open, to behavioral therapies that retrain the brain's sleep associations, to light therapy that resets circadian rhythms. The solutions are as diverse as the disorders themselves. So next time you lie awake at 3 a.m. or wake up exhausted after what seemed like a full night's sleep, remember, your body might be trying to tell you something. These aren't just labels. They're keys to understanding what your body is trying to fix, hide, or fight while you sleep. But what happens in your body during these disrupted nights? How do these invisible disorders affect every cell while you're not even awake to notice. That's where it gets dangerous. Imagine a behavior so strange, so dangerous, that it leaves you paralyzed, unaware, and completely vulnerable every single night. Now imagine that evolution fought to preserve it for over 500 million years. From jellyfish drifting in ancient oceans to birds soaring over continents, every complex life form sleeps. But why would nature protect something that puts survival at risk? What if sleep isn't a break from life, but the force that made life possible in the first place? Sleep didn't start with us. It's older than language, older than thought, older even than brains. It's a shadow that has followed life through every twist of evolution, a ghost from the deep that never let go. Take the Cassiopeia jellyfish. No brain, no centralized nervous system, and yet every night it drifts toward the ocean floor, pulsing slower, reacting less. Keep it awake all night, and the next day, it barely moves. Scientists call this sleep rebound. Evolution calls a red flag. Even brainless creatures need rest. Even more stunning, octopuses, among Earth's most intelligent invertebrates, shift between two distinct sleep states. In their quiet sleep, they lie still with pale skin. But then they enter what scientists call active sleep, where their skin flashes with color and texture. Their eyes dart beneath closed lids and their arms twitch. Their skin ripples with color. Their arms twitch. Their eyes flicker beneath sealed lids. This is REM sleep, or something like it. In an octopus, are they dreaming? And if so, are they dreaming in ink and water? Sleep looks different in every species. But beneath the surface, the rules remain eerily consistent. A quieting of movement, a drop in responsiveness, a posture of safety, and most telling of all, the rebound effect. Deny sleep and the brain pushes back. Hard. That's not habit. That's hardwiring. Sleep is not a luxury. It's a law, one that has governed life for 500 million years. Yet evolution doesn't play by one rule book. In the wild, sleep bends and flexes, adapting to every niche, every threat, every opportunity. The result? Animal sleep stories that sound like science fiction. High above the open ocean, the frigate bird soars for weeks without landing. How does it sleep? One hemisphere at a time. Micro naps, 10 seconds long, while the other half of the brain keeps flying. Sleep doesn't stop the journey. It adapts to it. Dolphins never fully let go. One half of their brain sleeps. The other stays alert, steering, surfacing, breathing. They live in a state of constant compromise. Proof that sleep isn't about shutting down. It's about staying alive. On the African savanna, giraffes nap with eyes half open. They sleep less than 3 hours a day, sometimes standing, sometimes lying down for quick bursts of deep sleep. Vulnerable but vigilant. Sleep always negotiated. In a quiet cave, the brown bat does the opposite. Wrapped in wings, it sleeps for up to 20 hours, safe hidden, conserving energy like a metabolic monk. What explains this dramatic range? The answer lies in each animal's unique place in the world. So why do we sleep at all? Why does evolution cling to it so fiercely? Scientists offer several theories, each revealing a different piece of the puzzle. Energy conservation. Sleep keeps us inactive when food is scarce or danger is high. Adaptive inactivity. Better to stay still at night than stumble into predators. Restoration. Time to repair cells, replenish chemicals, and clean the brain. Neural optimization. Sleep rewires your mind, consolidating memories and pruning irrelevant noise. Maybe it's not one theory, but all of them Maybe sleep began as survival and evolved into something far more sophisticated. As our ancestors gathered around fires and built language from shared dreams, something shifted. Sleep didn't just restore the body, it began to shape the mind. When our ancestors left the trees and began sleeping on the ground, they faced a deadly problem: vulnerability. The solution wasn't sleep less, it was to sleep smarter. Humans sleep less than many animals, but we dream more vividly. A chimp sleeps nearly 10 hours. Bats sleep 19 hours. Elephants barely sleep 2. You average 7, but your sleep is rich with story. Maybe that's not a flaw. Maybe it's our evolutionary bet. Less time asleep, but deeper dives into the subconscious. We dedicate a remarkable 20 to 25% of our sleep to REM, that active dream state first glimpsed in bearded dragons and octopuses, now elaborated to unprecedented complexity in the human brain. Our dreams may have once helped us survive the night. Now, they may help us understand ourselves. So, why do we all dream, even if we'll never remember it? What ancient programming runs beneath our consciousness every night? Could your dreams carry the evolutionary echoes of 500 million years? The memory of oceans where your distant ancestors first learned to rest? Because sleep isn't just human, it's primal. And what it's doing to your mind might not be fully human at all. What happens in your brain during those mysterious hours of unconsciousness? That's what we'll explore next. You think you're resting, but your brain is rewriting the blueprint of who you are. Every night, while your body lies still, your mind begins a shift change. Emotions are triaged, memories sifted, trauma softened, and insight sparked. Sleep isn't passive recovery. It's mental architecture in motion. So the real question isn't what's happening to your body when you sleep. It's what's happening to your mind. What if I told you that right now, somewhere in the world, someone is falling asleep frustrated by a problem they can't solve, and they'll wake up with the answer? Why does your brain choose to relive your most painful memories in the middle of the night? And why does a single night of poor sleep make you feel like the worst version of yourself? The answers lie hidden within specific stages of sleep, each one a specialized workshop for your mind. Don't think of sleep as a shutdown. Think of it as a series of night shifts, each stage of sleep staffed by its own mental crew. Together, they form a hidden workshop behind your consciousness. And every night, they quietly rebuild your inner world. As you drift into deep sleep, the brain enters slow-wave sleep, the librarian of your mind. During this stage, your hippocampus, the temporary storage center, begins a careful transfer of the day's experiences to your cortex for long-term keeping. Scientists can literally watch as your brain whispers what you learned today, strengthening the neural pathways that hold your memories. That test you're studying for, that presentation you need to nail, slow-wave sleep, is working to make sure you remember it. Before you reach deep sleep, you pass through N2, where remarkable bursts of brain activity called sleep spindles appear. These spindles act as your brain's firewall, deciding what noise to keep out and what memories to keep in. They're like security guards, protecting your slumbering mind from disturbance while simultaneously strengthening the connections that matter most. Studies show that the more sleep spindles you have, the better you'll recall the next day. Some scientists are even developing ways to boost these spindles to enhance learning. Then comes REM sleep, the most paradoxical stage of all. Your brain becomes more active than when you're awake. Your muscles go limp. Your eyes flick beneath your lids. This is a dream state. But REM isn't just where dreams happen. It's where emotions heal. What you felt today Fear, anger, joy gets rerun here in a safe simulation, and your brain decides, hold on or let go. That fight you had with your partner, the shame from a mistake you can't stop replaying. REM sleep is where your brain turns down the emotional volume while preserving the facts. Scientists call it sleep to forget the pain, remember the lesson. You wake up still knowing what happened, but somehow it hurts less. What happens when REM is cut short? You feel raw, overreactive, frustrated by everything. That's because your brain missed its nightly emotion reset. And without that detox, your reactions run hot and your reasoning runs cold. You study hard. You slept. The next morning, you nailed it. That slow wave sleep doing its job. You had a strange dream about your ex. Why? Your brain was processing your lingering emotions. That's REM at work. Ever wake up after just 3 hours and feel wired with anxiety? Your REM sleep was cut short, leaving emotions unprocessed. That brilliant idea that came to you in the shower, it might actually have been brewing in your dreaming brain for days. In labs, researchers are doing something remarkable. They teach you something, like a new word or musical scale. Then, while you sleep, they play the exact same sound tied to that learning. Result? You remember better the next day. It's called targeted memory reactivation, or TMR, a quiet nudge to the sleeping mind. And it works. What if you could become conscious inside your dreams? That's lucid dreaming, a rare state where the dreamer knows they're dreaming and can sometimes control the narrative. Artists, athletes, trauma survivors, they all use lucid dreams as a sandbox. And behind it all, a network in your brain known as a default mode network, a creative engine that sparks new connections as you dream. It's what gives dreams their surreal power and sometimes surprising insight. But what if the workshop goes dark? Cut off REM sleep and emotional wounds don't close. Lose slow wave sleep and memory disintegrates. Break the rhythm and your brain short circuits. You don't just feel tired, you feel unstable. The brain becomes reactive. The body becomes inflamed. Your sense of self unraveled by exhaustion. A single night of poor sleep increases emotional reactivity by 60%. Your amygdala overreacts, while communication with your prefrontal cortex, the rational part of your brain, becomes impaired. Chronic sleep problems aren't just exhausting. They're linked to anxiety, depression, and PTSD. Insomnia doesn't just steal rest, it steals resilience. A fragmented night can undo a day's worth of coping. Sleep isn't the absence of waking. It's the forge that shapes how you'll wake up, who you'll be, and how you'll face the world. Because the decisions, the dreams, and the person you become tomorrow all begin in the quiet workshops of the sleeping mind tonight. You followed every tip in the book. Early bedtime, no coffee after noon, the perfect mattress that cost half your paycheck. Yet here you are, staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m., feeling like you haven't slept at all. Most of us treat sleep like a light switch. Flip it off, close your eyes, and expect darkness to carry us away. But your brain isn't a switch. It's an orchestra. And every night, your environment becomes a conductor, guiding brain waves, heart rate, hormones, and timing like instruments in a symphony. Light, sound, temperature, timing, even the color of your bedroom walls. These are not background details. They are cues, and they are shaping your sleep every single night, whether you realize it or not. Let's start with light. It doesn't just help you see. It tells your brain what time it is. Deep inside your brain sits a tiny master clock, the suprachiasmatic nucleus that orchestrates when you feel alert and when you surrender to sleep. And its primary language? Light. When light hits your eyes, especially blue light from screens, it signals your internal clock that it's morning, even if it's midnight. Melatonin, your body's sleep cue, doesn't stand a chance against a glowing screen. Every sunrise resets this clock, sending signals through your body. It's morning. Wake up. Be alert. Morning light triggers cortisol, your body's natural energizer, while suppressing melatonin, your sleep signal. Your eyes evolved to sense the blue light of dawn. But that same wavelength now shines from your phone at 11 p.m. To your brain, that late night scroll might as well be sunrise. And your melatonin? Delayed, disrupted, or entirely silenced. Your ears never sleep. Even the softest sounds, a distant siren, hallway footsteps, a neighbor's cough, can nudge your brain from deep sleep to lighter stages. You won't remember it, but your sleep quality will. Sound isn't just disruptive, it's invisible theft. At night, your body naturally drops by about 2 degrees Fahrenheit, prepping for deep sleep. Too warm, and your brain can't reach those lower, restorative stages. Think of temperature not as comfort, but as chemistry. The right coolness unlocks the deepest rest. What happens when your bedroom is 2 degrees too warm, or when your TV plays softly in the background? It doesn't just disturb dreams. It fragments your entire sleep architecture. Deep sleep becomes shallow. REM sleep, where memories consolidate and emotions process, gets cut short. Your brain never completes its nightly maintenance. The perfect sleep scene is quiet, dark, and cool, like a prehistoric cave. But modern life turns your bedroom into a light show, a soundscape, a stimulus trap. Why does a warm bath make you sleepy? It's not the heat, it's the drop that follows. As blood flows to your skin to cool you down, your core temperature drops, mimicking the natural cooling your body expects before sleep. That drop tells your brain, it's time. Ella scrolls TikTok until 1 a.m. The videos make her laugh. She thinks they help her unwind, but her brain is receiving conflicting instructions. The content says relax, while the blue light screams it's daytime. Meanwhile, Marcus enjoys one small coffee at 5 p.m., thinking he'll be gone by bedtime. He doesn't realize caffeine has a half-life of 6 hours. Half that stimulant is still circulating in his bloodstream at midnight, silently fighting his sleep drive. Routines are not just habits. They are signals. A warm drink, dimming the lights, a stretch, a book. These aren't just relaxing. They're predictive programming for your brain. Do them consistently, and your brain begins to anticipate sleep before your head hits the pillow. Sleep isn't just about how much. It's about when. Your brain follows circadian rhythm, a 24-hour cycle shaped by light, temperature, hormones, and food. Sleep outside your natural rhythm, even if it's 8 hours long, feels like jet lag. And over time, misalignment isn't just exhausting. It's inflammatory, metabolic, and emotional. In Spain, the afternoon siesta remains a cultural touchstone. In Japan and Amuri, napping in public signals dedication to work. In Mediterranean cultures, late dinners and evenings socializing push sleep patterns later into the night. What if the way we sleep isn't just personal, but cultural? What if society itself trains us to ignore or embrace our biology? In much of the Western world, especially America, sleep deprivation has become a badge of honor. "I'll sleep when I'm dead" isn't just a saying. It's a cultural value that silently shapes how we view rest itself. You can't fight the modern world, But you can adjust your light. Wake with the sun. Let morning light reset your master clock. Even 5 minutes of natural daylight within an hour of waking can help anchor your circadian rhythm for the entire day. As the evening approaches, dim your lights. Trade your phone for silence, or perhaps an old-fashioned book. These small acts aren't arbitrary. They're speaking your brain's ancient language, telling it, night is coming. It's safe to prepare for sleep. For some, light becomes medicine, not a pill, but precisely timed exposure. Light therapy, sitting near a special lamp that mimics sunlight, has proven remarkably effective for people with seasonal affective disorder or circadian rhythm disorders. For night owls struggling to fall asleep before midnight, morning light therapy helps advance their internal clock. For those who wake too early, evening light exposure can delay it. The timing matters as much as the light itself. Every night, your brain listens, not just to your thoughts or dreams, but to your environment. Every choice you make, every bulb, every scroll, every sip, every degree on the thermostat tells it whether to rest or fight. The power to transform your sleep doesn't require extreme measures. It lives in these small daily choices that align with, rather than fight against, your biology. But what if you do everything right? Cool room, dark curtains, quiet night, and still can't sleep? Maybe the problem isn't outside you. Maybe it's inside your own beliefs. Because some of the worst sleep disruptors aren't physical. They're myths we believe for years. What if everything you thought you knew about sleep was wrong? What if the rules you follow, don't nap, get 8 hours, snoring is harmless, are quietly stealing your rest? Because when it comes to sleep, science has moved fast, but our beliefs haven't kept up. Tonight, let's set the record straight. First myth, that your brain powers down like a computer in sleep mode. In reality, your sleeping brain is throwing a party, sorting memories, processing emotions, and orchestrating everything from your breathing rhythm to your dreaming adventures. During REM sleep, your brain activity looks remarkably similar to when you're wide awake. Even in deep sleep, your mind is hard at work. It's just doing different jobs. The truth? Sleep is an off switch. It's more like your brain's secret laboratory. When you get older, you need less sleep. You've heard your grandparents say it, maybe even brag about it. Science says that's not quite right. Older adults still need those 7 to 9 hours. They just often struggle to get them. What looks like needing less sleep is actually getting less quality sleep, interrupted by medications, discomfort, or years of poor sleep habits. Your sleep need stays remarkably consistent throughout adulthood. The ability to get good sleep, that's what changes. The weekend catch-up. Here's a storyline you know well. Monday through Friday, 6 hours a night. Saturday and Sunday, sleep till noon to catch up. This weekend recovery plan, it has a name, social jet lag, and it's making your Mondays miserable. While those extra weekend hours might help you feel less zombie-like temporarily, they don't erase the health effects of chronic sleep deprivation. Your body keeps score, and it doesn't accept weekend payments for weekday debts. The alcohol myth, a nightcap, might feel like a ticket to dreamland, but while alcohol helps you fall asleep faster, it disrupts the very sleep stages your brain needs most. You'll spend less time in REM, more time waking up without knowing it, and the result? A night that looks like sleep, but doesn't feel like rest. Sedation isn't sleep, and your brain knows the difference. Snoring isn't just annoying. It's a potential alarm bell. Loud, chronic snoring, especially paired with daytime fatigue, may signal obstructive sleep apnea, a condition where breathing repeatedly stops during sleep. Untreated, it raises your risk of heart disease, stroke, and cognitive decline. So if someone says your snoring is epic, it might be time to listen. The 8-hour rule. You've heard 1,000 times. You need 8 hours of sleep. But here's the truth. There's no universal sleep number. Some people thrive on 7. Others need 9. What matters more is how rested you feel, how aligned your sleep is with your circadian rhythm, and whether your brain gets enough time in deep and REM sleep. Sleep is not one size fits all. It's a personal rhythm, tuned by biology, age, and lifestyle. Your friend who brags about needing only 5 hours of sleep, the one who forgot your birthday and left their keys in the fridge, that's probably not their superpower. It's their sleep deprivation talking. Think naps are for toddlers or lazy afternoons. In reality, naps are biological performance boosts. If used wisely, a 10 to 20-minute nap can improve memory, focus, and mood. Even NASA prescribes them for astronauts and pilots. Just avoid late day or long naps, which can disrupt your night rhythm. The trick isn't if you nap, but how and when. Sleep adaptation myth. Think you can train yourself to need less sleep? You can train yourself to feel less tired, temporarily. But under the hood, your brain is paying a steep price. Cognitive decline, immune dysfunction, emotional instability. It's all happening whether you feel it or not. You don't adapt to sleep loss. You accumulate it. It's like removing the battery warning light from your car dashboard. The problem doesn't disappear. You just stop getting the warning. Hollywood loves a good insomniac. Tortured geniuses solving crimes at 3 a.m. or troubled souls haunted by their past. The reality of insomnia? It's not a superpower or a personality trait. It's a treatable condition that affects millions. And unlike in the movies, it rarely leads to brilliant revelations. More often it leads to doctor's appointments. And narcolepsy in movies? Always played for laughs. People suddenly face planting into their soup. The full story? Narcolepsy includes sudden muscle weakness triggered by emotions like laughter, called cataplexy, sleep paralysis, vivid hallucinations, and overwhelming daytime sleepiness. Not exactly comedy material. Then there's sleepwalking, depicted as either comedic misadventures or sinister zombie-like states. And whatever you do, never wake a sleepwalker. They might die of shock, or so the story goes. The science? Waking a sleepwalker won't harm them, though they might be confused or disoriented. The safest approach is simply guiding them gently back to bed. Dreams only happen during REM sleep. It's in every psychology textbook, right? Not quite the full story. While your most vivid narrative dreams tend to occur during REM sleep, you can dream during any sleep stage. Non-REM dreams are typically more conceptual, thought-like, and less emotionally charged, and you're less likely to remember them. Are dreams just mental junk mail? Or are they your brain's way of decoding emotion, memory, and even future plans? While not every dream has meaning, science shows that dream content reflects your waking life, emotional state, and even subconscious problem solving. Think of dreams not as prophecy, but as processing. Speaking of dreams, can you control them like in Inception? Lucid dreaming is real. Some people can recognize they're dreaming and even direct the action. But unlike the movie, dying in a lucid dream doesn't wake you up in another layer of reality. It usually just changes the dream. The average person swallows 8 spiders a year while sleeping. This might be the internet's favorite sleep myth. The reality? Spiders have no interest in entering your warm, vibrating, air-gusting mouth. They can sense the vibrations of your breathing and heartbeat. To them, you're basically a living earthquake. Then there's a phenomenon people once called the old hag, a terrifying experience where you wake up completely paralyzed, often with a sense of malevolent presence in the room or pressure on your chest. Scientists now call this sleep paralysis, a REM sleep intrusion where your dreaming brain wakes up before your body's paralysis wears off. It's not supernatural, but knowing the science doesn't make it any less terrifying when it happens. Sleep myths cross cultures and centuries. In Japan, there's a saying that if you can't sleep, it's because you're awake in someone else's dream. The Abenaki tribe believes the Great Spirit created the entire world through a dream. Some cultures embrace the midday nap as essential, like the Spanish siesta, while others, like Japan, accept public napping as a sign of hard work rather than laziness. Throughout history, many believe dreams could predict the future. While science doesn't support prophetic dreams, the question remains, why do so many cultures share such similar beliefs about sleep? Perhaps it's because sleep remains one of our most universal yet mysterious experiences. Today's sleep myths spread at the speed of a viral TikTok. Melatonin isn't a sleeping pill. It's a hormone that signals to your body that darkness has fallen, yet it's marketed as the ultimate sleep solution. There's even a new condition called orthosomnia, anxiety created by obsessively tracking your sleep data. The very tools designed to improve sleep can sometimes prevent it. When sleep myths guide your decisions, the consequences go beyond feeling tired. Untreated sleep disorders can lead to serious health issues, and the pressure to achieve perfect sleep can itself become a barrier to actual good sleep. These myths don't just confuse us, they cost us sleep, and sleep is the foundation of memory, mood, immunity, and longevity. The truth? The more you understand your sleep, the more it gives back. The good news? You don't need to fear sleep. You just need to understand it. Your body knows how to sleep. It's been doing it since before you were born. The biggest enemy of good sleep might just be the stories we tell about it. So now that we've cleared the fog of sleep myths, what if we could go even further? What if you could optimize your sleep, boost memory, sculpt dreams, unlock new potential? Welcome to the next frontier, because what happens during sleep may soon be something you can design. We spend 1/3 of our lives asleep, and yet we still don't know exactly why. What if dreams aren't just stories your mind tells you, but data your brain actively rearranges? What if one day we could direct them? Can we enhance sleep like we enhance fitness? Can we program rest? Can we debug insomnia like code? Now we venture into sleep's final frontier, where science and mystery still dance in darkness. Sleep has persisted through 600 million years of evolution across virtually every species we've studied. It renders organisms vulnerable to predators for hours, and yet it survived natural selection. This suggests the benefits must be absolutely critical. They outweigh the risk of death. Sleep hides its purpose in plain sight. It repairs, it restores, it remembers. But which of these is its core mission? Why do we dream? What is consciousness doing when it seems to be offline? In rare cases of fatal familial insomnia, patients completely lose the ability to sleep. Within months, they develop hallucinations, severe cognitive decline, and ultimately death. No other intervention can save them. Is sleep fundamentally about clearing toxic waste from the brain, memory consolidation, emotional regulation, or something we haven't discovered yet? REM sleep typically accounts for 20 to 25% of adult sleep, though this can vary with age, stress, and sleep quality. Infants can spend up to 50% of their sleep in REM, but its exact purpose remains one of neuroscience's most fascinating puzzles. The hypnagogic state, that twilight between wakefulness and sleep, might be the most creative state of human consciousness. Think about a butterfly. This is targeted dream incubation, technology that whispers themes to your brain as you drift off, steering your dreams towards specific content. I solved the engineering problem I've been stuck on for weeks in my dream. Dreams aren't random noise. They're a different mode of information processing, one we're just learning to collaborate with. But what if we could go further? What if we could not just influence dreams, but read them? Using fMRI and EEG data, AI models can now reconstruct elements of what you're dreaming, identifying patterns that correlate with specific dream content. We're building a dictionary between brain activity and conscious experience, a translation tool for the sleeping mind. The brain produces slow oscillations during deep sleep. With perfect timing, we can enhance them. This is closed-loop auditory stimulation. The system listens for specific brain patterns and delivers precisely timed sounds to amplify slow-wave sleep, the stage critical for memory consolidation. Study participants showed a 40% improvement in memory retention after just one enhanced night of sleep. But sound is just the beginning. These technologies allow us to modulate specific brain circuits during sleep. We can enhance slow waves, suppress nightmares in PTSD patients, and potentially boost learning. What if the future of education included sleep learning? Not passive recordings played while you sleep, but targeted enhancement of the brain's natural learning processes. Today's consumer sleep trackers are just the beginning. Tomorrow's will be your personal sleep oracle. Your sleep efficiency dropped 18% last night. Based on your cortisol patterns and previous data, I recommend shifting your final meal 90 minutes earlier today and brief morning light exposure. Advanced AI systems can classify sleep stages with accuracy that approaches or sometimes exceeds human scorers, at least in lab settings. But validation in diverse real-world conditions is still ongoing. They can detect subtle patterns invisible to the naked eye. We can now identify insomnia risk factors years before symptoms develop, detect sleep apnea without a laboratory visit, and even predict REM sleep behavior disorder, an early marker of Parkinson's disease, decades before motor symptoms appear. Your entire sleep environment may soon respond to your brain states, a symphony of technology orchestrated by your unconscious mind. We've discovered that sleep serves as the brain's waste clearance system. The glymphatic system becomes dramatically more active when we sleep. In animal studies, deep sleep appears to facilitate clearance of amyloid beta and tau, proteins implicated in Alzheimer's. Human studies suggest a similar link, but more research is needed to understand causality. Sleep disruption may accelerate neurodegenerative disease progression. This has sparked a revolution in how we approach brain health. Dozens of NIH-funded clinical trials are now testing whether enhancing sleep could prevent or slow Alzheimer's disease. We're testing everything from targeted light exposure to acoustic stimulation that enhances slow waves, to RX and antagonists that improve sleep quality. After 3 months of using the light therapy, my sleep improved dramatically. And on my cognitive assessments, I'm testing 5 years younger. One of the most effective treatment for neurodegenerative disease isn't a pill that targets the disease directly, but one that enhances the brain's natural cleaning system during sleep. The future of sleep pharmacology goes beyond simply inducing unconsciousness. Traditional sleeping pills often suppress REM sleep. Next-generation medications enhance specific sleep stages without disrupting sleep architecture. Medications like daridorexant dual orexin receptor antagonists, show promise in improving sleep by targeting wakefulness circuits without broadly suppressing brain activity. Unlike older sedatives, they may better preserve natural sleep patterns. What if future medications could selectively enhance slow-wave sleep for physical recovery, or extend REM sleep for emotional processing and creativity? We're moving from blunt instruments to precision tools, medications that target specific sleep mechanisms for specific outcomes. As we gain unprecedented access to the sleeping mind, we must ask, where does enhancement end and exploitation begin? Sleep data is perhaps the most intimate data we generate. Who owns your dream content? Who can access your sleep stages? These questions need answers before the technology outpaces our ethical frameworks. If we know someone was dreaming about beaches last night, maybe we show them travel ads today. But did they consent to having their dreams monitored for marketing purposes? Is the sleeping mind entitled to privacy? Some researchers are exploring extreme sleep optimization, from reducing sleep needs to managing alertness for emergency personnel, military, or space missions. The ethical line between therapeutic use and enhancement isn't always clear. Just because we can engineer sleep doesn't mean we should. Sleep evolved over millions of years. We're still uncovering its mysteries. We may never conquer sleep, but we're learning to listen to it, to partner with it, to become conscious collaborators with the unconscious. Sleep remains one of our most intimate and mysterious experiences. A third of our lives spent in a state we're only beginning to understand. Because what if the biggest unlock to your future lies in the half of your life you don't remember? You spend a third of your life asleep, but that's not the absence of living. It's the unseen half of it. Every night you surrender without memory, without control. And yet, while you disappear, your body comes alive. In the darkness, your brain relives the day. Like a master sculptor, it strengthens the memories worth keeping and gently lets go of what you don't need. The day's lessons are written into your mind, not while studying, not while practicing, but in the quiet sanctuary of sleep. Sleep is where scattered moments become lasting memories, where emotion finds its proper place, where your thoughts, like puzzle pieces in gentle hands, are arranged into something meaningful. And beneath the surface of your dreams, an ancient system awakens, your glymphatic system, the brain's dedicated cleaning service, sweeps away the metabolic waste that accumulated while you were awake. Toxic proteins that could one day lead to disease are cleared away, washing through your brain tissue in rhythmic waves, synchronized with the slow oscillations of your blood vessels. Like a city that comes alive at night to repair its streets while the traffic is gone, your brain maintains itself when consciousness no longer demands its attention. Your immune system strengthens during these hours too. While you dream, your body is learning, not just your mind. It's consolidating immune memories, preparing defenses against threats it has encountered before. Inflammation rises, not as a warning sign, but as an orchestrated rehearsal, your body's way of strengthening both innate and adaptive immunity. As sleep researcher Matthew Walker reminds us, sleep is the single most effective thing we can do to reset our brain and body health each day. From the humblest jellyfish to the most brilliant human mind, every living creature rests. That can't be coincidence. That's design. Despite the vulnerability it creates, despite the time it demands, sleep has persisted across millions of years of evolution. It's non-negotiable because it's irreplaceable. Sleep shows you what you can't face when you're awake. In REM sleep, your emotional mind processes the day's stresses without the prefrontal cortex's tight control. It reminds your body how to heal, and it asks nothing in return except surrender. When we sleep poorly, our emotions become unbalanced. We enter what researchers call a vicious cycle. Poor sleep disrupts emotional regulation, creating more negative emotions, which further disrupt sleep. We become more reactive, less resilient, less ourselves. Some traditions call sleep the cousin of death. Others say it's where the soul wanders. Science sees it as the brain's maintenance mode. But perhaps it's simpler than that. Perhaps sleep is how we remember who we are, biologically, emotionally, cognitively. The you that wakes tomorrow morning exists because of what happens tonight. And yet we live in a sleep-starved society. We glorify hustle and mistake exhaustion for ambition, as if we can negotiate with biology. But sleep doesn't wait for you to catch up. It simply disappears. And so does everything it could have healed. The silent sleep loss epidemic Walker describes isn't just robbing us of rest. It's taking away the hidden half of who we are. So tonight, when you close your eyes, know that you're not shutting down. You're entering the most sophisticated restoration process in nature. The place where everything begins again, where memories find their home, where emotions find their balance, where your body remembers how to heal. You don't remember most of what happens while you sleep, but that doesn't mean it forgets you.